the fact that the UPSC is an independent body. The UPSC has been extremely fair and neutral in the conduct of the examinations thus far. And again, I'm emphasizing this fact because very many of the candidates, especially from the minorities, apprehend the fairness and neutrality of this body, which is tasked with selecting officers for the middle and upper management levels of the Government of India. I want to disabuse any fears which you have in your mind about the neutrality and the fairness of this organization. The whole process of the examination, which I'll be discussing with you right now, is completely impartial. The UPSC has no role at all apart from ensuring the examinations are conducted freely and fairly and conducting the interviews itself, the personality test, which we call, for selecting the final candidates. And even here, it is the sum total of the marks which you get in a written examination and the interview, which determines your ranking and your selection. So even if somebody wants to be biased against anybody, it is extremely difficult to stop a candidate who's meritorious. With these words, to set at rest the fears of very many of our friends, I would now proceed with the examination details as such. I have also got a PPT which I'll share with the management later, and I'll request them to share it with all of you all. So you would also have a presentation with you by the end of the day, hopefully, so that you'll know exactly what I have talked about. The UPSC conducts an examination annually, like I mentioned, for recruitment to 23 services. These are services which are the premier services of the Government of India. And the entire recruitment process is conducted by the UPSC. The civil services examination is a generalist examination. I must emphasize on this generalist part of it simply because the examination expects you to be aware of a vast area of knowledge, political, social, historical, economical, geographical, and to be able to use this knowledge to reach a rational, unbiased, and a fair opinion. The 23 services which I mentioned, which are popularly known as the civil services, is a major career option for everybody today. And I would urge you all to write this examination simply because this is an exam which takes you into the middle management level of the Government of India, and you can rise up to become secretaries to the Government of India, which is the topmost position which the government offers. It's a career which has enormous opportunities for you to serve the people. It's a career which gives you enormous self-respect and recognition. Now, what are the services which you're talking about? The IAS, of course, you're aware of. The Indian Police Service, the IPS. Then you have the revenue services, which has split into two, the income tax and the customs and GST services. Then you have the audit and accounts, defense accounts, civil accounts, various railway services, which include railway accounts, railway personnel. Then you have the information service, the trade service, corporate law service. And this is also a common examination for the Indian Forest Service. The preliminary examination is also for the Indian Forest Service. So these are the broad services which are examination for which is held by the UPSC. Now, the minimum qualification is just a graduate degree. You can be a BA, or you can be a BSc, you can be an MBBS, you can be an engineer. You could also be a postgraduate, you could be a PhD. There's no restriction on the qualification other than the fact that you have to be a graduate. So this year, in fact, we have a lot of doctors and engineers. Of course, we have a lot of engineers entering into the services. Obviously, like you're aware, we have an affirmative action for the less privileged sections of society. So we're talking of the OBCs and the SCs and the STs. So the upper age limits differs depending on a category. The general category candidate has an age limit of 32, and he has 6 attempts within which he has to qualify for this examination. An OBC candidate has 35 as an age limit, and 9 attempts are permitted for him. An SC/ST candidate has an age limit of 37, and there are no restrictions on the number of attempts so long as he is within the age of 37. The civil services examination, typically, the notification for the examinations happen in the month of February. This year was an unusual year, so don't go by what happened in 2020. But inshallah, next year, in case you are interested in writing the examination, the notification for the examination will appear sometime around about February 2021. And typically the last date for the exam, for the receipt of the complete application forms would be March 2021. The examination itself will be held sometime in the month of May, June. This year, again, because of the delays of, thanks to the COVID, the examination is being held only in October. But otherwise, typically it is held by May, June. The examination is split up into 2 parts. You have a civil services preliminary examination, and you have a civil services main exam. The civil services preliminary examination is a 1-day affair, but the main examination is spread over 5 days. So typically, the stages of the civil services process is a preliminary examination, where the object is to test your broad knowledge. Then you have main papers, which is descriptive, and to test your ability to analyze knowledge. And then you have an interview, which is the personality test, which is basically to judge your ability to give an opinion which is cogent, which is fair and unbiased. Now, the prelim examination itself consists of 2 sets of papers. You have a general studies paper, which has 100 questions, 200 marks spread over 2 hours. And it also has negative marking. It is extremely competitive. And the idea of a preliminary examination is mainly to sift the numbers, because the numbers of people who apply for the examinations runs into a couple of lakhs. And the idea of a general studies is to reduce that number, to eliminate people. The paper 2 is an aptitude test, which is 80 questions, again 200 marks. Again, you have a negative marking. So these 2 papers constitute the preliminary examination. It is only for shortlisting the candidates, and the marks which is scored in the preliminary examination are not counted for the final merit list. The final merit list consists only of the marks which you score in the mains and in the interview. The main paper itself consists of 9 papers spread over 5 days. The maximum marks are 1750. There are 7 papers into 250. 2 of the papers are not counted for the purpose of the merit list itself. All papers are of a 3-hour duration. The 2 papers which are not counted are any Indian language proficiency and a compulsory English language. And what is counted for merit is an essay paper. And you have general studies, which are 4 papers, and you have optional subjects, which are 2 papers. Please remember that you can write the examination, except for the compulsory English paper, obviously, in any of the languages which are there in Schedule 8 of the Constitution. So English need not be a barrier again, in case you feel that English is not up to speed and you would like to write it in Canada, you like to write it in Urdu, you are welcome to do so. The examinations can be written in any of the Indian languages. We have 22 notified languages, starting from Assamese right up to Urdu. The papers, as I mentioned in the main examination, are in any Indian language, a compulsory English paper. These 2 are only for qualifying. And what counts for merit are papers on essays, general studies 1, which covers heritage and culture and history and geography. Paper 2 of general studies, which covers the constitution, polity, social justice, international relations. Paper 3, which consists of technology, economic development, biodiversity, environment, security. Paper 5, which is on ethics, integrity, and aptitude. Now, this is a recent addition, simply because the UPSC felt that we need to also test the candidates on their integrity and aptitude to work in a government organization. Then the next 2 papers are optional subjects. You can take any subject that you want. You could be an engineer and decide to take philosophy and psychology. You could be a psychology student and decide to take agricultural science and engineering. There is no restriction. So you can take any paper which you want to. In fact, currently, geography, sociology, psychology are extremely popular papers amongst the candidates, political science. So almost 50–60% of the candidates opt for these papers. And these are candidates from engineering and medical backgrounds. So the choice of papers is entirely is very wide, and is entirely up to you as to what you want to choose. The idea, the preliminary examination, like I meant to, is to sift, is to eliminate candidates and make it more manageable. The main examination is the exam which tries to assess the depth of your knowledge and your ability to analyze issues. Marks are given only if you're relevant and meaningful, right? Remember that, otherwise you will not score marks merely by filling papers. The basic understanding is being tested, and the general studies papers, the UPSC says any well-educated person will be in a position to answer these questions. I would urge you all to look at all the question papers. They're all available on the UPSC's website, which is upsc.gov.in. All the papers are available. The sample papers are available. The previous year's papers are available of both the preliminary and the main examination. This will give you an idea of the level of the papers. These papers generally are of a BA honors, BSc honors level, or early postgraduate level papers. So anybody can, as I mentioned, pick up any subject and look at the university, any good university, Delhi University, Bangalore, Chennai, Madras University, and that will be the sort of levels which you are looking at for the papers itself. The optional subjects, like I mentioned to you, are wide. It is just about everything: animal husbandry, veterinary science. You can take Arabic, you can take Urdu, you can take mathematics, you can take management, you can take Persian, you can take mechanical engineering. The options are vast. So you cannot say that, look, I'm not familiar with this particular item or this particular subject. The choice is entirely yours. Kashmiri also is there as a separate optional subject. So you have a wide range of subjects. I go back to the prelim examination itself. As I told you, the paper 1 is a crucial paper. This is 200 marks, 100 questions, negative marking. Basically focuses on current events. It focuses on the history, the national movement, the geography of the country, polity and governance, economic and social development, and general science. And the paper 2 is not counted for the merit. It's just, you need to just pass those papers. It's a comprehension sort of a paper which checks your logical reasoning and analytical ability. Now, the main paper, the main examination, again, Indian language, there's a précis writing, there's a comprehension, there are short essays, translations are there from English to the Indian language and vice versa. It is very basic and very simple. Paper B, which is again an English paper where you just have to pass, has similar précis writing, comprehension, vocabulary, and short essays. The essay paper itself has, you have to write 2 essays out of a total of 250 marks, and you have to be very precise in adhering to the subject of the essay itself and to arrange your ideas logically and coherently. The main papers are, I told you, spread into general studies 1, 2, 3, 4, which cover a wide range of subjects. The details are there in the PPT, which I'll be sharing later. So you can have a look at those, but broadly, again, like I mentioned, it is history, geography, Indian heritage, governance, technology, economic development, biodiversity, ethics, aptitude, and integrity. The optional papers, you had such a wide range of subjects available to you to choose from, and they're at a level of an honors degree. And only for engineering, law, and medical science, the scope is limited to the bachelor's degree. Now, typically, to give you an idea of the candidates who apply and who qualify, 2016, 11 lakh candidates had applied for this preliminary examination. Roughly around 5 lakhs appeared. The remaining 6 lakhs did not appear for one reason or another. 15,000 have qualified the preliminary examination. So you see there's a dramatic reduction in numbers from around about 5 lakhs to 15,000. So these write the main examinations. From the main examinations, 2,961 qualify for the interview, out of which 1,000 were recommended for the various services. So the idea of giving you these numbers is to tell you that the examination is extremely competitive. A single mark makes a difference in ranking. Very many candidates are with same marks, and then you rank the candidate depending upon the performance in the common papers. So it's an extremely competitive examination and becoming more and more popular. This year's results you must have read about. 927 candidates were recommended, again split up between general candidates, OBCs, SCs, STs. So what you need to understand is the examination pattern. How you can do this examination pattern? You can know this examination pattern by really looking closely at the examination papers which are available on the UPSC website. The examination is extremely competitive. So you need to be working hard. And by hard, I mean 14, 15 hours spread over a couple of months. The preliminary examination gives you multiple choice, and it can be very confusing. So unless you know the answer precisely, you're going to get into trouble. And as I mentioned, the negative marks, which will mean that you will end up losing marks. So you need to have an effective plan for preparation on the examinations. It is very important, again, that you have a group of people along with you. The idea being that you can exchange ideas, you can know how each one of you are preparing, and it involves a lot of hard work. Let me not tell you too much, except that it involves a lot of hard work. It's very competitive. I would urge you all to go to the UPSC website, look at the details of each one of the papers which are there. That will give you an idea of how competitive the papers are. And remember, you don't necessarily have to go to a coaching institute. A lot of coaching institutes have sprung up everywhere in the country. They are useful, but not essential. I know of enough of candidates who did not enter any coaching institute for their preparations. So today we are in the month of August. Your earliest, which you have the examination now, which is an option available to you, is sometime like June 2021. So there's ample time for you to start your preparation. And more students need to participate in this examination. This year, 41 Muslim candidates qualified out of around 927. The total percentage of Muslims in the country is around 14 to 15. So we ought to be getting at least 15%. In the services too, unfortunately, that is not happening. For the last few years, in absolute terms, we are only around 35 to 40. And primarily, my own reading is that far too many of our candidates are convinced that the whole world is against them. And they work very hard to fail, which is what I tell them. You have to work hard to succeed. Don't start off prejudging that everybody is going to be against you. There's no point in me studying hard. Fail to mujhe hona hi hai. Pass nahi karenge ye log. If you come with that attitude, you most certainly will fail. So be optimistic, be realistic, which means you have to work hard, and you can, inshallah, make it. Now, this is my little talk. I'm open to any questions from any one of you all about the nature of the examination or any other details you want. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Al-Islam.
This is Syed here, and I would really like to thank you for taking time out and giving us such a fantastic presentation with all the relevant details. And I would like to thank the team behind it who have been able to manage such a good talk, and the initiative was very, very, very nice. Well, I'm an engineer by profession, and I'm working with one of the MNC, particularly an US MNC. My question is, sir, I am from Karnataka, and I belong to rural and Muslim category, that is 2BR. So I'm not sure how this distinction happens at the central level. When they say OBC, will I be in OBC? I try to search through the websites. There are Karnataka government minorities websites where they have mentioned many such castes. So castes wherein it comes under OBC. But when I try to make it particularly to my caste, I think I find out that the OBC is generally for the people who have been converted from other castes to Muslims, and particularly it points out to their profession. So I'm not sure whether I will be under OBC. So I just wanted clarity on that OBC for a Karnataka Muslim, and I belong to Sayeds. So in any of the caste certificate, I don't see that my subcaste has been mentioned. If I go to a Tahsildar to get my caste certificate, they just give me as a Muslim caste that belongs to 2B in Karnataka.
But tell me one thing, you are OBC in Karnataka?
I didn't find myself in that list, which comes in.
Look, if you don't find yourself in that list, you're not in that list, because each state determines. And frankly, I don't have a ready answer. What I will do is I'll get back to the organization as to how the central government classifies OBC. I don't have a ready answer, so I'm not aware of this. I also noticed somebody else also has typed in a similar question. How do I know that I'm an OBC? I don't know. What I will do is I'll check up the central government's prescription as to who belongs to an OBC, and I'll share it with the management. But my belief is that if you're not an OBC in the state, obviously you're not going to be an OBC in the center also. Number one. Number two, not all OBCs of the states become OBCs in the center. Having said that, I will get back to you, right, through the management of this meeting.
Yeah, one more question is there. Which books to refer?
Okay, I will share that list also along to the management. What I suggest is for the preliminary examinations, you will be surprised that all you have to refer to is the standard 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th NCERT books. 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th NCERT books of sociology, economics, everything. You please look at that. Start reading the newspapers a habit. Every single day, please read the newspaper carefully. And by carefully, I mean 2 hours at least you spend on the newspaper. Jotting down points, jotting down important things, because most of the papers, the questions are from the newspapers. And the newspapers you should be reading is the Hindu. You should be reading at least one financial paper, which is either Economic Times or Financial Express or Business Standard or Business Line, any financial paper. There's a magazine known as Yojana. I'll be sharing all these details in writing also. There's a magazine known as Yojana, which is brought out by the Department of Economic Affairs, Government of India, which again is very useful. Read that carefully. And this is broadly enough for the preliminary examination itself.
Question from Idris. How to manage and study for a working professional as we are during this lockdown? Good question.
You jolly well have to study, yeah. I can't tell you how you and remember, you have to study. I mean, there's no shortcut for this examination. And by studying, far too many of our brethren, I assume my entire audience is Muslim, we get up for our fajr and go back to sleep. For heaven's sake, start from not going back to sleep after your fajr. Use your time after the fajr for reading the newspapers and starting to study. And if you are working, God bless you. The two have to go together. You have to take at least some time off in the evenings and early mornings to study. And I told you, studies means several hours. My friend, the people who do nothing but quit everything and study for 6 months, 8 months, and the number of candidates who qualify in the first attempt are very few. So you should not get disheartened, discouraged if you don't make it in the first attempt. Remember, even writing the preliminary examination and not qualifying is considered to be an attempt. So you're one attempt less. So even if you qualify for prelim and main examination, don't qualify in the interview, which is known as personality test, that is also an attempt. So you have to work out your schedules. Please ensure that you spend a couple of hours in the morning, a couple of hours in the evening, and focus.
Assalamu alaikum, sir. Idris here.
Alaikum.
I am from Karnataka. Actually, the thing is, I wanted to tell you, there are many opportunities from Karnataka government. Many people are aware or don't know that I don't know. Like minorities, they will be conducting the exams for coaching centers, everything. But the lagment is like they will not get the proper guidance or proper advice, like which one to select the optional. If we select the optional, if we fail in first attempt, then whether the optional will be applicable in the next year, because in the next year optional will be same, but the way of approaching the subjects, anything, it will be different. So few people will lack in selecting which one to select the optional, basically, because it is a major basic step as well. According to me, 2015, I have cleared prelims in the first attempt without any coaching. I was a working professional there. So due to some reasons, I didn't continue my further studies. Now I'm seeking the guidance, but I'm not getting proper guidance which one to select the optional subject and how to approach the manner studies rated. Although I have prepared NCERT, few people will say old NCERT also there, new NCERT also there.
What is your background, Idris? What background have you?
Engineering, sir. EC, Electronics and Communication Engineering.
Okay. Now, what is your what do you think is the optional subject you would like to take? You see, as I told you, there's no restriction on what optional subject you want to take. I'll tell you the popular optional subjects are geography, sociology, political science, public administration. The reason why I say they're popular is because most of the people who qualify are from these papers, and people generally believe it's a very stable paper. Meaning thereby, you do reasonably well, you get 50, 60, 70%, you can be assured of getting. So that's an option available to you in case you want. Or you want to go to your engineering, have a look at the papers itself in the UPSC. Because very many people from the engineering background feel that the engineering papers are very difficult and prefer to go to sociology or geography.
Inshallah.
And if once you decide on that subject, then I'll again give you some websites which are very useful websites, which give you the books, recommended books for these subjects, right? So there's a lot of material available on the net. Kindly go to the net. I will share some things, and what I will also be doing is I'll share the telephone number of one or two officers who are presently posted in Bangalore, whom I have spoken to, and they will be willing to sort of guide you a little more, because I wrote my examinations in 1979, right? And it has dramatically changed. The nature of the examination has changed completely. In my time, it was all, we had multiple papers, the number of papers are more, and it was all descriptive. Now the emphasis is on objective in the preliminary. So it has completely changed from the time which I wrote. So I'll get some officers who are of the 2015, 14, 16 batches who will be more relevant for you all. and give you the telephone numbers and all details so that you can share with them your concerns, and they will guide you better than what I can guide you right now.
It will really help them, sir, because it will really help them, because if the senior person is advising us, even we will also feel like this person will be giving the advice since he has been already cleared. He will help. It will be helpful.
No, inshallah, ho jayega. That's not an issue. As I told you, I will share the telephone numbers. I've already spoken to these officers, and they are more than happy to be of any help.
Jazakallah, sir.
Sir, Assalamualaikum. My name is Rauf. Actually, I want to know, is there any institute that you would like to recommend to go for full-time coaching?
Look, yeah, these institutes are very expensive. They charge you a lot of money. They charge you money per paper. So I really do not know whether it is financially worth it. But I'll tell you some institutes which are very popular. There is a Wajiram in Delhi, which is very popular. I don't know whether he has a branch in Bangalore. I know he has a branch. He also has online coaching. There is Shankar's Academy, which is also having in Bangalore and Chennai, Hyderabad and Trivandrum, which is also good. But before you go to any of these institutions, do your basic work, because these institutions, remember, they take a lot of your time. What they do is they will run a series of mock tests. So mock tests are good only if you have done some basic preparation and studying. Right? You can't go to the institute and they can't expect you can't expect them to teach you too much. They hold lessons, but ultimately it all boils down to your own effort and hard work. So Wajiram is very good, they say. Rao's is also there. Shankar is there in Bangalore. All of which have got some good results. But most of these candidates who qualify from one academy, invariably you'll notice they also go to 3 other academies. So I do not know who's responsible for their success. Everybody claims credit all right for the success.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum
Sir, I'm Muhammad. I am from Gujarat. Sir, this time they have included even EWS candidates, economically weaker section of.
Yeah.
So will this affect OBCs and SC/STs, sir?
No, all are independent categories, right? You could be an OBC and an EWS also, right? So you choose what you want to. All are independent categories. Again, I'll get back to you. I think I can understand what you're trying to ask. I will get back to you on who qualifies for an EWS. Again, this is available on the governmental website, but I'll get back to you.
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Walaikum.
My name is Shema Siddiqui and I am from Lucknow, sir. Sir, I want to ask a general question, like we are seeing a trend of decrease in the number of seats in UPSC from 2015. And sir, why it is so that the number of seats is currently decreasing?
This year was very high. Again, it was 927 this year. The total number of candidates who have been taken. You see, the numbers are determined by the vacancies. Each ministry of the government of India informs the UPSC how many candidates it wants for that service. So if it is the IAS, each state will say that I have a vacancy of 10 people or 5 people or 7 people. And accordingly, the UPSC thereafter determines the total number for the country, for all the ministries, and does the process of selecting. So the UPSC doesn't determine the number of vacancies, that it is determined by each ministry of the government of India, who informed the UPSC that these are the number of vacancies I've got, and please give me this many candidates. Agar aap Lucknow se hai, Janab, there is a Zakat Foundation which conducts examination to select candidates and gives coaching free of cost in Delhi. Have you heard of Zakat Foundation?
Yes, sir. I have heard about it.
So Zakat Foundation mein jaiye aap. This year they had around 15 candidates from Zakat Foundation who qualified for the main examination and for the final results. So they hold in Lucknow also examination where they select the candidates. They don't hold in Bangalore, unfortunately, but having selected the candidates, you have to pay a monthly amount of around 1,500 rupees and everything else is free. They give you also coaching through Wajiram. They pay for the Wajiram's cost. Hostel facilities in Delhi, Khana Pina. So look at Zakat Foundation closely. Hamdard and Jamia Mela also in Delhi do the same thing.
Yes,
so आप लखनऊ में हैं तो कोई दिक्कत नहीं होनी चाहिए आपको एग्जाम में लिखने के लिए दिल्ली जाने के लिए.
जी सर.
Keep an eye on when they're holding it. Zakat Foundation के वेबसाइट पे जाइएगा आप, zfi.org करके, and they are very good in terms of supporting candidates by taking care of their entire expenditure of hostel, boarding, and most important, attaching you to Wajirams in Delhi.
Okay, sir.
Assalamualaikum,
Jazakallah,
sir. Assalamualaikum, sir.
Walaikum.
I'm from Aligarh, myself Salman.
Ji.
Regarding the number of seats, you told us that they are not decreasing. Actually, last year they are, in enormous amount. But as far as I have heard, there is a lateral entry scheme by the government. From that scheme, they are just trying to put experienced professionals from private industry to the, UPSC, to the railways. So kindly please comment over that.
You see, lateral entry was tried for 1 year at the level of joint secretary, and the total number of candidates taken in the lateral entry was around 12. My understanding is that the scheme has not turned out to be very, very successful, and the number of candidates selected has nothing to do with the lateral entry. Mere bhai, I have got the exact numbers here. 2008 में 791, 2009 899, 2010 920, 2011 910, 2012 998, 2016 1099, 17 I don't remember how much, but I can tell you 2019 examination it is 927. So it is approximately anything between 800 850 to around 1100. That's the range. And as I told you, it is determined entirely by the vacancies in the Government of India. The lateral entry has not in any way reduced the number of posts. Just 12 candidates, 2 each in Ministries of Commerce, Agriculture, Aviation, Shipping were taken. I mean, very few ministries, not all the ministries were interested in lateral entry. So that is not a reason at all for reduction in numbers. उसमें आपको कोई दिक्कत नहीं होनी चाहिए. अगर आप अलीगढ़ में हो तो भैया मेरे अलीगढ़ में ज़कात फाउंडेशन का एग्जामिनेशन होता है. तो I hope you are aware of it.
Yeah, I know, sir.
हाँ, तो आप अलीगढ़ के ही लोग हैं जो चला रहे हैं, all are old Alligerians. जो उसको चला रहे हैं. Incidentally, I am also from Aligarh.
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Walaikum.
Sir, I'm Sheikh Abdul from Bangalore. Sir, I have a question that, sir, I'm in final year of my engineering, and sir, I have cleared my CDS exam, sir.
Okay.
And sir, I'm like totally confused to whether to join Indian Army or should I pursue for UPSC? But somewhere I'm willing to, sir, go for.
You cleared your CDS as in what? You cleared the personality test also?
No, sir, I have just cleared the exam.
Okay. So please go ahead for the personality test. You see, the CDS, when you go for after your graduation, you enter into a short service commission, right?
Yes, sir.
You will, depending upon which wing you get selected for, you will go either into the Army or the Air Force or Navy. After 5 years, it gives you an option of either continuing or saying thank you very much and going outside. These services give you enormous amount of confidence, experience, exposure, respect, right?
Yes, sir.
After 5 years, when you leave, however, you really are nowhere. Previously, we had a system whereby we permitted these officers getting out of the short service to write also the UPSC examination, and there were relaxations in age and in marking for them. That has been done away with now. It's no longer there.
Yes, sir. Sir, as my dad was he's also an Indian Army officer. Sir, as he says to me, if you wish to go for your UPSC, you better go for that, because in Indian Army you won't get any time to study over there, and if you want to achieve your goals, you do now itself. And,
no, but what are your goals? I mean, that's what I'm asking. What are your goals?
I want to become a civil servant, sir, but I'm totally confused because I'm the elder guy in my home, and sir, my dad, he'll be getting retired too, and I'm totally confused to what to do. I'm wishing to join Indian Army, and I'll study for the UPSC and clear for that, sir. I don't know, sir, how to approach.
Look, once you join the Army, which is OTS at Chennai, they give you no studies, right? It is a very physically demanding course which they have. Because remember, they're compressing in a short time what other candidates do through NDA and IMA, right? So वो 5 साल का जो कर रहे हैं वो आपके लिए 1.5 साल में खत्म कर रहे हैं. So they're compressing a lot of things within that short period, and it's a very physically demanding course.
Yes, sir.
you will simply have no time to study. You will be too tired even to open your books. You'll have no time to study. So if you think you can join the army and also study, it's going to be very difficult, right? But look, we require Muslims also in the Indian army. So in case you're joining the Indian army, I would urge you to do so, because that's another option really where more of us should be there.
Yes,
So
thank you, sir.
it's a wonderful profession. If you're going as an officer, it is a very, very good beginning you get. You as I told you, there's respect, there is salary, protection, there is exposure of the type which you'll never get anywhere else. You decide, but really you have to take a call as to what you want to do. And जो भी करते हैं, don't have regrets. सबसे बड़ी बात यही है कि जिंदगी भर आप regret ना करें कि ये कर दिया हूँ, वो करना चाहिए था. But remember, wherever you decide, whatever you decide, you're going to have a tinge of regret. When something happens, you say, I wish I was in the other place. So don't have a regret. Take a conscious decision. Since you've already done 50% of the work for the CD by qualifying with the CDS, first give it a shot. Pehle to aap go through the personality in interviews. And in case you get through, alhamdulillah, you can then take a call of what you want to do. Right? Don't take a call right now.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
So one more question from me. Do you think do you think they will not count this year because of COVID-19?
What do you mean? They're very much counting it. The examination this year, as I told you, is now being held in the month of October. The preliminary examination is being held, so it is very much being counted for every which way. So they're holding the examination. Bas delay ho gaya, 6 months se delay kar diye, but they're holding the exams.
And sir, I would need more details on this lateral entry, because I'm already hitting that age of 31, 32. So I would like to know.
Lateral entry is not an issue. I do not know who told you that is a matter of concern. I was in the board for selecting the lateral entry. I can tell you the total number of candidates we selected was 12. Bharat Sarkar में 12 लोगों से कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ने वाला है आपको. और the chances of getting into the services are not going to get impacted because of this 12 people getting into the services, right? And after that, there was a single one-off time which you did. उसके बाद lateral entry has not happened. समझे आप? तो lateral entry से आप घबराए मत. The age limits are what you should be worried about. If you are a general candidate, as I told you, the age limit is 32, and for OBCs is 35. I will get back to you about Muslims from Karnataka, whether they qualify for OBC or not. Offhand, I'm not in a position to reply. I mentioned to some other friend who questioned me on this earlier. I'll get back to you. I'll verify, confirm, and get back to you.
Sure, sir. Thank you.
Okay?
Sure, sir. Thank you so much.
Ji. And mind you, incidentally, Zakat ke saath saath Jamaat or Jamia Millia and Hamdard, all three give excellent opportunities for candidates interested in the civil services examination. Jamia holds an entrance exam. Even Zakat Foundation holds some sort of a preliminary examination because they invest a lot of money in each candidate. As I told you, they give you hostel facilities, they give you coaching facilities, and hold your hand right through from the preliminary stage up to the interview stage, depending, of course, on you qualifying at each one of these stages. But they take care of you right through the entire period, and the amount they ask from you is pittance. It's 1,500, 2,000, some such thing, if I remember right.
One more thing, sir, like here in Hyderabad, I believe Maulana Azad University is also offering quite a bit like of free coaching. Like those who are like in Hyderabad, they can just check it in Maulana Azad University.
Thank you. Almost every city, Bombay mein agar hai to the Hajj committee in Bombay offers this opportunity. Pune, I'm aware of. there is an institution offering for such minorities and Muslims. So almost every city, is no shortage of opportunities available for the Muslims. Unfortunately, we're not exploiting those opportunities enough.
Sir, do you know any institution in Pune?
Come again?
Minority institution.
Pune mein?
Sir, do you have any knowledge that there is any institution in Pune, Maharashtra?
I will find out. Maharashtra government has for minorities. I'm aware of that. I will check up in Pune proper. You're from Pune, is it? Are you from Pune?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
मैं मालूम करता हूँ. I am offhand, I'm not aware, but I think there is an institution there. मैं मालूम करूँगा, आपको बताऊँगा.
Do we have such institutions in Bangalore?
Of course, yeah. To the best of my knowledge, Al-Amin was wanting to start one. I do not know whether they have started. But Al-Amin College, जो है.
Yes, sir. I have gone, sir. Like I have given my younger brother, like he gave NDA exam there itself, so I have gone through there.
जी.
But sir, मुझे नहीं पता था कि सर वहाँ पे UPSC की तैयारी भी करते हैं.
अच्छा, नहीं बैंगलोर में है कुछ, मैं मालूम करता हूँ. मैं जो ऑफिसर का नाम मैं बताऊंगा ना, डॉक्टर साहब है आमिर सिद्दीकी. He was telling me बैंगलोर में भी है करके. उनका details I'll be sharing with the organizers of today's meeting, and please interact with him and he will let you know exactly.
It will be so helpful, sir.
नहीं मैं बता दूंगा आपको, बता दूंगा.
Sir, one more question. Though it's a lame question, but मैं चाहता हूँ कि सर थोड़ा एक धारणा वाला जो बात है जो माइनॉरिटी से एसोसिएटेड है वो दूर हो जाए. स्पेशली इन यूपी बिहार एक कॉमन नोशन है कि नो मैटर कि आप IAS है IPS है, व्हेन इट्स कम टू द गवर्नमेंट, इट्स एक्चुअली आपको फिर उनके अंडर ही काम करना पड़ेगा. यू कैन नॉट डू व्हाटएवर यू वांट फॉर द वेलफेयर ऑफ द सोसाइटी. ये बहुत कॉमन है यूपी और बिहार में. सर उसको सुधारने के लिए हम किस तरह से उनको जो इस चीज को लेके छोड़ देते हैं, बहुत कॉमन है सर.
मैं अलीगढ़ में था एक साल के लिए. I did not complete my post graduation in Aligarh. I went there for my post graduation, wrote the civil services and got out.
Okay.
अलीगढ़ से जिस साल में मैं था, अलीगढ़ आप जानते तो है, यूपी में है.
Yes, sir.
अलीगढ़ में जिस साल में था, हम लोग करीब 15 लोग लिख रहे थे एग्जामिनेशन. 4 लोग इंटरव्यू के लिए आए थे और 3 लोग क्वालिफाई किए थे फाइनली इन द पेपर्स, इन द मेंस. First time I am from the south. And the first time I noticed this fear which was there कि मैं मुसलमान हूँ, सारी दुनिया मेरे खिलाफ है, मैं पास नहीं कर पाऊंगा, पढ़ने का फायदा क्या है, पढ़ूंगा भी तो फेल ही हो जाऊंगा. तो जैसे मैं बोल रहा था, they work very hard to fail. You have this self-fulfilling prophecy कहलाते हैं, where you prophesize that you're going to fail and you fail, and then you say, look, I failed only because it is so biased against me. मेरे भाई आपने तो पढ़ा ही नहीं आपने. You just see the next man. You should go to Delhi to see how these guys study. I mean, they leave everything. कुछ नहीं करते हैं. There are roughly around 100 institutes in Delhi, and if you go to the Delhi University area, the people are staying there for 2 years, nothing but studying for the civil service examination. Why? Because people from Delhi, from UP, from Bihar know the importance of bureaucracy. South में we don't appreciate bureaucracy so much because we all go into various other professions. Engineer बन जाते हैं, doctor बन जाते हैं, chartered accountant बन जाते हैं, and you get into other services, etc. But the guys from UP, Bihar, they see the power of government, they see what they can do and what they cannot do. So I must tell you that, and I have been part of the UPSC for the selection process. We do not know the name of the candidate coming before us. When we sit for the interviews, all we know is an examination number. जब वो बंदा सामने आता है, you then realize ये मुसलमान है या Christian है या whatever, किस जात का है. You're not aware whether it's reserved or SC or OBC or this thing, because the reason is they do not want us to be prejudiced against a candidate. We do not know how much marks he has got in his main examination. Again, they don't want to, if a person has got lesser marks, they don't want to prejudice the interviewers. So the process is extremely fair. I mean, I must assure you that. मेहनत करें आप, and it is a very competitive examination. जब 10 लाख, 5 लाख, 6 लाख लिख रहे हैं आप और 1000 लोग select कर रहे हैं, obviously it is competitive. Obviously there are going to be a lot more failures than people who are succeeding. और रही बात सरकार की, you see, nobody can force you to do a wrong thing. Please be rest assured, अगर आप सही चीज करना चाहते हैं, the worst they can do to you is transfer you. बस और कुछ नहीं कर सकते आपको. You are so protected by the constitution of the country. Nobody can do anything to you except transfer you, which invariably doesn't happen. I mean, one or two cases it happened. Yeah, generally it is not a difficult thing to function. You have choices to make. You can make the right choice, and the right choice is always right. Remember that.
Okay, sir. As far as Aligarh Muslim University is concerned, एक बहुत बड़ी यूनिवर्सिटी है सर. उसके बाद भी जो number of candidates coming from there to actually, they appearing for the UPSC is very less. तो उस पे सर आपको
मेरे भाई पढ़ते नहीं वो लोग, वो पॉलिटिक्स में लगे रहते हैं, राइट? आइदर कोई दंगा फसाद कराने की कोशिश करते हैं या कुछ हो जाता है तो प्रोटेस्ट करते हैं. These guys, and mind you, the facilities in Aligarh are outstanding. The library there is one of the best in the country.
Yes.
When I was there, I had access to the library 24 hours a day. I had the chavi to the library, and I could take any books I want, go at any point of the day or night. That was the sort of facilities I not think of any other place where I could get the sort of facilities. जो किताब आप चाहते थे वो मिल जाता था. And that time, remember, when I wrote the examination, internet वगैरह कुछ नहीं था. We had to rely on the books, and it was the support which I got from the university is outstanding. And the previous year, in 78 batch, the topper was a Muslim from Aligarh Muslim University, Javed Usmani karke. So Aligarh is a wonderful place to study, and if you're interested in studying, you want to become a neta, it's again a wonderful place to be a neta because we have a lot of issues. It depends entirely on you. Aap par hai nirbhar.
Thank you.
Any questions, please?
Assalamu alaikum, sir. Again, Shama Siddiqui. Sir, I want to ask that whether UPSC is going to decrease the number of attempts in the future and the age limit in the future?
I don't know. There's a lot of debate on this issue, but it is a very sensitive issue. I don't think the government will take that call very easily because अगर जनरल के लिए reduce करेंगे तो SC, STs और OBCs के लिए भी reduce करना पड़ेगा, and it's a very politically sensitive issue. So I don't know whether it will happen. But remember, if a person from SC, ST 37 years में अगर exam लिखते हैं वो, by the time he gets into the services 1.5 साल हो जाता है ना सारा exam process, either 1.5 years. You write the examination in the month of April, May, the prelim examination, the results come out the अगले साल May, June. So मतलब 37 years person, by the time he joins actually a training institute, he'll be around 38, 39. So literally he has around 29, 30 years of service left, right? 60 years is the age of retirement in the government of India. So he starts off with a disadvantage vis-a-vis the others who join the services at 22 and 23 and 24. So so there's a lot of debate. कम करना चाहिए, number of attempts, age limits. अभी कोई no final decision has been taken. So let it not be a problem for you.
Okay, sir. Jazakallah.
Hello, we have reached the time. Another 5 minutes for questions. Most of the people are asking in whether Kolhapur, there is a Chennai, any institutes are there. But what we would recommend, I think Mr. Najib will agree, going to Delhi is the better option because you have better study facilities over there, like Aligarh. These are the places where you get libraries, you get a lot of facilities. Zakat Foundation going through them is the better option. You want to add any more to that, Mr. Najib?
No, देखो, every place has institutions right now. Every state government is concerned about the lack of representation from minorities. The quality differs. This examination entirely depends upon how hard you work personally. Guidance can be limited only. Ultimately, you have to work hard. So my personal belief is that guidance is necessary, but not essential. Right? So anyway, whatever places you have mentioned, Pune, Kolhapur, I made a note. अगर मुझे जान पहचान कुछ हो जाता है, I'll share it with you all.
We will be providing, as Mr. Najib Shah said, 2 persons' name who are already in the thing, who will help you from Karnataka.
Sir,
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah, ask your question.
Sir, Assalamu alaikum. I am from Kerala. Sir, I want to know whether if we can get access to Zakat Foundation from this.
मेरे भाई, Zakat Foundation holds examinations in Malappuram. I had gone there year before last to select candidates from Malappuram for the coaching in Delhi. We have a written paper, then we have an interview. So myself and one more colleague from Delhi, both of us had gone to Malappuram. and selected the candidates. I forget the name of the college. There's a college, a Muslim institution there, where who hosted us and gave us a space. So, and you know, year before last, from Kerala, a Hafiz had qualified. A Hafiz had qualified for the civil services from Kerala. And Hafiz का advantage ये है कि वो बिल्कुल कम उम्र से they are able to learn the Quran, and after that learning anything is nothing for them. It's just so very easy for them. So the Hafiz who's come from Kerala, whom we had selected in Malappuram. So I will tell you exactly Kerala में कौन से institutions हैं. In fact, again, I know of one forest service officer in Trivandrum who's running an institution. I'll give you those details. मैं share करूँगा. What I will be doing is all the questions you have asked, to the extent possible, I'll share the details with Mr. Altaf Patel and request him to in turn share it with you all. Right? Kerala में तो बहुत सारी opportunities हैं मेरे भाई. There are lots of opportunities in Kerala for Muslim students. And Zakat Foundation comes to Kerala for selecting candidates. I will let you know which is the institution which holds the papers. I will let you know that. And Taki, you can keep an eye on that.
Sir, why people fails in interview after clearing the toughest exams like prelims, mains, and they fail in interview? So like, what's the reason?
Listen. As I mentioned to you, for the interview, we select around 15,000 people.
Yes, sir.
Right? Now, from 15,000 people, we have to see. 2016, we had selected 2,961 people.
Yes,
From
sir.
2,961 people, we have to select 1,000 people.
Yes,
So
sir.
obviously, 50% people have to go out here, right? Now, what is the process? The personality test is a test, like I mentioned to you, where we want to know what are the confidence levels of the candidate, how is he able to articulate his replies, and preliminary, your result is determined by the marks which you have obtained in the main examinations plus the interview marks. It's not just the interview marks. You don't fail in the interview. If you have done very poorly if you have just done enough to qualify for the interviews in the mains, but not got enough marks, even if you get very good marks in the interview, you may not qualify. So you don't fail in the interview. There's a selection process of elimination, right? So every year, around 50% only qualify from the people who come for the interview.
Yes, sir. Sir, like I have seen one IAS officer, like his name is Ansar Sheikh. So like he's my idol. So like he given the answer like sir, like some interview asked like whether you are Shia or Sunni. He told like Indian Muslim. So such type of questions like really ask like further like frequently. No, like that of.
To the extent possible, the board is not supposed to ask questions on religion or politics. But definitely, because we are Muslims, there are going to be questions on, if you go now, there are going to be questions on the constitutional amendment. There are going to be questions about why Muslims don't come into services. There are going to be questions on some questions, but definitely not on religion as such, right? Yes, and I must tell you again, the candidates from J&K are outstanding. They're so politically aware, and they handle these questions very, very well, right? There's nothing to be, you have to give your opinion which is logical and which is unbiased, right? You should not let any prejudices come in your reply. So anyway, interview is a long way off, yeah. You first have to pass your prelim and mains. Inshallah, after that we'll come to interview, and if I'm around and you're around, I'll give you whatever tips you want for the interview then.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, is there any plan for those candidates who have cleared mains examination and could not clear interview? For them, any alternative services can government provide?
No. The government will not provide now or any plans. But if you are preparing for the civil services examination, the RBI examination also follows a very similar pattern. You look at the RBI selects candidates at Group B and Group A, and they are again competitive examinations where the syllabus is very similar. whichever state you are in, your state services examination, the syllabus is very similar. So if you prepare for UPSC, you can look at other places also where you can write the examinations, like the RBI, like the state services, and qualify there.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, I think we will end the session now because we already overshoot by 10 minutes. I want to give a vote of thanks to Mr. Najib Shah for conducting a very beautiful session. I have given my email ID. Anybody, if he has questions, you can send it to me and I will filter it and send it to Mr. Najib Shah. And whatever information he has promised to give, and he will obviously give. And thanks everybody for joining in and making this session successful, informative to everybody.
Let me ask one question, one final question.
Yeah.
How many of y'all are interested in writing the exam?
Yeah. Yeah.
80 of y'all have registered, I'm told. I do not know how many are physically present. But
45 was the last strength.
I have gone to multiple such sessions, and out of 50 people, 5 people write the exam,
Yeah.
or apply for the exam. Out of the 5, 2 only come to write the exam. They say, बहुत मुश्किल है जी. कोई चीज आसान नहीं है आज की तारीख में. It is a competitive world. You must work hard. So all of you all kindly look at the examination papers in the UPSC website, and I would urge you all to write the exam. Inshallah, you can qualify. Yeah, unless you write the exam, there's no question of you qualifying. And if you want to write the exam, work hard and write. So all the very best to you, and thank you so much, Altaf, for having me here. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Khuda Hafiz, all the best.
And for your positive words also. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.